Story time on how I got sober after 10 years of using opiates. So just for some context on where I was at in my addiction at this point, I was using powder fentanyl. I was injecting it. I live in Phoenix, so it's a very fentanyl populated area, but at this point in my addiction, it was really hard to find like just fentanyl. It was being laced with like pretty much everything that you could think of. So I was extremely swollen. I had abscesses all over my body. I was actually like at risk of losing my leg. Like, just think about that. It was to the point that I was spending up to like 5 hours in the bathroom trying to get well. So just to kind of paint you guys a picture, I was not doing well, mentally, physically, everything. At this point, I was really wanting to get sober, but I just didn't know how because I had been through withdrawals so many times and I just couldn't put myself through that again. I was working 2 jobs. I was working 7 days a week, and I decided I wanted to plan a vacation to go to Venice Beach. Now that I think of it, what prompted me to go on this vacation is that my boss brought it up to me like, hey, I think it's time you go on vacation. Like you're not looking too good, you know? So I booked my hotel, and about 2 days before I was meant to leave, I started getting really sick. I'm talking sick to the point where I actually went to the hospital because I was so dehydrated. I couldn't keep anything down. I was puking constantly. I could hardly stand up. The thought did cross my mind that I could possibly be pregnant. So I was talking to the nurse at the hospital and I was telling her, you know, my situation. I was being honest with her. And she was like, okay, let's do a UA and like see what's in your system. And it came back, I had fentanyl, morphine, heroin, methamphetamine, xylazine, and pretty much anything you can think of in my system. It gave me an IV, and she comes back about 30 minutes later and she says, hey, can I talk to you? She comes in and tells me that I'm pregnant. So obviously this news was very scary for me because I was in a very, very bad spot in my life. I just remember breaking down crying. My boyfriend was there with me, but at the same time, I knew like this was my only chance. So when I left the hospital, I decided to go to detox. In my head, I was like, this is my only opportunity. Like, I am never going to have this chance again. Like, I feel like God was sending me a sign, like, this is your chance. You already have a week off of work. You're pregnant. Like, you're about to lose your leg. Like, this was my warning sign. I got there, they did an assessment, and they actually denied me. Obviously, I can't be 100% sure why they denied me, but I am assuming it's because I did not tell them I was. It's actually crazy because it literally says on their wall in the lobby that if a pregnant woman comes in asking for services and there is a bed available, you cannot turn her down. And not only can you not turn her down, if there is not a bed available, you have to find a place for her to go. So I was like, hey, look at your wall. Like, you can't deny me. And they were basically like, yeah, we don't give a shit. I left that night and I did not use. I went home. At this point, I was so determined to get sober that I was just like, no, like, I'm coming back in the morning and I'm gonna try again. So I did that. I went back in the morning. They ended up admitting me, and I remember being in like the little room where you wait for a bed, and this girl came up to me and like told me how she had been in my position, like she was pregnant at 1.2 and like went to detox, and then she offers me blues, which is crazy, right? Like, okay. Did turn them down because I was like, you know what, if I use right now, like if I take up her offer, like I'm out of here. Like, I'm gonna get high and I'm out of here. I don't think I said this, but at this point I was just about 7 weeks pregnant. I was in there for a couple days when the doctor came to see me, and he ended up apologizing to me and basically said like what they did by denying me was not right. The doctor actually said that a staff member had called him and basically told him that his other staff just denied a pregnant woman. I ended up waiting 72 hours to get on Subutex, medicated assisted treatment, if you don't know what that is. I actually went into precipitated withdrawal, which was obviously awful. I wanted to leave so bad. I tried to AMA. I was extremely freaking sick. If you don't know what precipitated withdrawal is, it's basically your body kicking the opiates out all at once, and you're going through like a week detox in like less than 24 hours. It's awful. I actually didn't even have an option to get on medicated assisted treatment. I don't think any doctor would detox a pregnant woman. Basically, protocol for a pregnant woman detoxing off opiates is they have to get on some sort of medicated assisted treatment. In the womb should not be going through that type of withdrawal, and it's not safe. So I stayed there for 6 days. I remember it was a Monday that I was discharged, and I went back to work the following Tuesday. I, if you don't know, was a self-proclaimed atheist up until this point, and I had never prayed a day in my life. I started praying to God. So I started praying that he could get me through it. I got through it by the grace of God. I was on Subutex for about less than a year, a little less than a year, when I was switched to the Sublocade shot, which is what I'm on now. I did 5 shots of Sublocade, 2 300 milligram shots, and then 4 100. I am on my last 100. So on November 15th, I will officially be detoxed off of medicated assisted treatment, which literally makes me want to cry. That is a whole other journey on its own. Just like the not knowing if I will ever get off this medication. So I am extremely proud of myself on that one because it was a very tough pregnancy for me. If you have ever been on medicated assisted treatment while pregnant, it is not easy. Obviously, you know, I did this to myself, so I absolutely deserve to go through the pain of getting sober. I wouldn't want it any other way. I think it needs to be tough to remind you not to go back. I was the type of addict who thought I would never get sober. Like, I genuinely thought I am not mentally strong enough to get sober. Like, I am going to die with a needle in my arm. Not only do I thank God, but I thank my daughter for giving me my life back. Like, she is the reason that I keep going. She is the reason that I stay sober. She's the reason that I'm doing this. It really is crazy how it all worked. Like, just like my boss asking me to take some time off, it was literal divine timing. Like, I can't even explain it any other way. If you are struggling in your addiction, just know that it does get better. It does get easier. Yes, it is very hard to get sober. It is probably the hardest thing you will ever do. At the end of the day, it is a few months of pain for your entire life back. It literally makes me emotional because I did throw away my 20s. I literally threw away like the best years of my life for nothing. That's something that I will stress to my daughter one day. That's something that I want to stress to you guys. You do not want to throw away the best years of your life over something that does nothing for you other than put you in the ground. There is nothing worth giving your life away over a drug. So if you're struggling, like I said, my messages are always open. Just know there is a light at the end of the tunnel and you can do it. If I can, you can too. Like, I know that is such a cliche thing to say, but it is so true. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. I do plan to do some other videos surrounding this topic. I love talking to you guys, so thanks for being here. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you later.